Let's go to Tehran now, where we're joined by Foad Izadi. He's a professor of political communications at Tehran University. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program. Now, spokesperson for the U.S., Ned Price, said they expect to pick up negotiations from where they left off before Trump had pulled out of the deal, but it doesn't seem like Iran wants to continue from where they left off. What kind of demands can we expect Iran to come to the table with?
You know, Iran has said from the very beginning that if the United States goes back to the agreement, Iran will do the same. The problem that we have is that the American officials don't want to go back to the original text of the nuclear agreement. What they say is that they want an agreement that's longer and stronger. This is the terminology they use all the time. You look at what the U.S. Secretary of State says, or National Security Advisor, other officials. By longer, they mean that they want to change some parts of the nuclear agreement, where you have Iran finishing limitations on some aspects of its nuclear program in 8 years or 10 years. They want to extend that to 20 years or 30 years. By stronger, they mean they want other things beside the nuclear issue. So they're interested in Iran's foreign policy, regional policy. This is what Iran's leader said a few months ago, that the other side insists to put a sentence in the text of the Vienna talks and get a guarantee that Iran will negotiate on regional issues as well in the future. So this is the main problem, that the United States does not seem to want to go back to the original text. President Biden could do that on the first day of his presidency, the same way he returned to the Paris Accords on the first day. He could return to the nuclear agreement on the first day. Why didn't he do it? Because they don't want to. Right. This is what Wendy Sherman said a few months ago in the U.S. Congress, that 2015 is not 2021. So they say that they had some concerns in 2015. They got an agreement. Now we live in 2021. They want new things.
Right. Let's talk about sanctions. Sanctions are, of course, one of the main issues Iran is struggling with at the moment. We know billions of dollars are currently being held in foreign banks, and this has hit the economy hard in Iran. How far do you think the U.S. will go in lifting these sanctions?
We don't know. You know, they play around with the issue of sanctions. They want to keep some sanctions at least, so they have some leverage over Iran. So there's this addiction towards sanctions. In the United States, they sanction Iran. They have been sanctioning Turkey lately. They sanction over 30 countries in the world. And they call that leverage, which is illegal under international law. We don't have any limitations on Iran oil sales or banking transactions by the United Nations. The sanctions that we have are American sanctions. These are sanctions that the U.S. Congress decided to apply towards Iran, and they are forcing other countries to follow dictates from the U.S. Congress, which is violating other countries' sovereignty. And this is the problem that we have. The Trump administration leveled a lot of sanctions against the text of JCPOA, and the Biden administration in the last 10 years, in 10 months since they have been in office, are basically following what Trump did.
Right.
And they're adding more sanctions to what Trump had, and they want to keep a good portion of Trump's sanctions.
All right, Professor Foad Izadi, thank you so much for joining us on the program and sharing that with us.